Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nagasa Galana from Sanyi Academy. Today, I'm going to teach Moral and Citizenship Education. Before going to look at today's lesson, I want to remind you to subscribe, like, share, and comment on videos uploaded on Sanyi Academy. And also, don't forget to hit the notification button just to get notified when new videos are uploaded to Sanyi Academy. Today, I'm going to talk on the relationship between morality and ethics, the sort of relationship that exists, the interplay that exists between ethics and the law. Before going to the deeper, just let us look what law is. What is law? Laws are norms that are formally approved by the state at national level or international political bodies. These are laws, norms that are formulated by the parliament or the body that is responsible for making them. Many laws are established to promote well-being of the society, resolve conflicts of interest in the society, and also promote social harmony. Yeah, this is a purpose why laws are made. The primary objective of law is to promote the well-being, the safety, to help the society live peaceful life, help the society to have its economic, political, social, cultural, and human or right interests. Although the purpose of law as well as ethics or morality is to maintain social harmony and well-being, there is a tendency of difference both in terms of application and the binding power they have. In terms of application, as well as in terms of the binding power, these two elements have on individual member of the community. So what are those relationships, a connection that we may find between laws and their morality? Let us see. Ethics and law. So what is the relationship? What is the interplay? Number one, some actions that are illegal may not be unethical. Those actions that we humans act or perform that are illegal may not be ethical. For example, speeding is illegal. Just driving a car at speed in the town is illegal. But one might have an ethical obligation to break the speed limit in order to transport someone to a hospital in an emergency case. For example, a driver know the law which says do not go beyond the limit of speed while driving in the town. But in terms of emergency, ambulance may go beyond the limit of driving or speed in the town. So speeding is illegal. The second one is some actions that are unethical may not be illegal. Some actions that are unethical may not be legal. For example, lying. Lying is unethical. But there is no law which prohibits lying as illegal except under certain conditions. For example, if you lie on the income tax return, if you lie on giving sworn testimony and others, in certain cases, there might be legal consequences or actions that may be taken against the person who lied. But there is no law that is generally made to prohibit lying. Lying is unethical, but it is not illegal. If it was illegal, totally, we would have ended in prison because of lying. The third one is law themselves can be unethical or immoral. For example, in 1800s in the United States America, there was the law that permits slavery. Morally thinking, it was unethical, but it was law at the same time. The fourth one is we use different kinds of mechanisms to express, teach, inculcate, and enforce laws and ethics. There are different mechanisms we use to enforce both ethics and laws. Laws are explicitly expressed, for example, penal codes, we say, court rulings, government regulations, but ethics are implicit, except few of them. There is a professional code. There are others ethical guidelines that we may learn in universities or in schools, but general ethical guidelines are implicit. They are held in culture and way of life of the people. And the fifth one is in terms of application, in terms of implementation, we use the power of the government to implement the laws. People who break the laws can be fined with money or penalty, imprisoned, or in some cases, may be executed. People who violate ethical or moral standards, on the other hand, do not face this kind of punishments unless their actions violate laws. A person cannot be fined, cannot be imprisoned, cannot be killed because of breaking ethical codes or moral laws. But in some cases, a person who breaks a law may be subject to punishment. So, different consequences of breaking these two elements are there. This is a relationship that we may see between ethics and law. This is basically the relationship between laws and morality or ethics. Let us now come to see the importance or goal of moral and citizenship education. What is the importance? What is the goal of moral and citizenship education? Civic education deals with virtues rooted in values of respect and culture of tolerance to make individuals responsible and competent in the society. Remember, in lesson one, I just said the main reason why different countries give citizenship or moral education for their students in school is to build the culture of democracy and peace. In addition, their purpose is to produce good and responsible citizens who are capable of maintaining democratic and peaceful life. The importance of moral and citizenship education is to build the values and cultures of respect and tolerance in the community, and also to produce citizens who are capable of uh, taking responsibilities and having competence. It teaches the values and sense of commitment of active and principled citizens. It tries to produce active and principled citizens who are committed to resolve conflict, who are committed to help the society, who are responsible to discharge their family, national, societal, and even global responsibilities. And also, it teaches to help students learn how to make responsible decisions based on evidences, based on understanding, based on uh, elements that they have to take into account. It teaches students to help them solve problems, care about others, about their family, about their friends, about their nation, about every people, to contribute to the society, and also to help citizens or students to be tolerant and respectful of diversity. So, civics and moral education is given with the aim of educating students about democratic culture, the culture of peace, the culture of tolerance, the culture of respect, the culture of living together, and also ethical values and principles, supremacy of constitution. Those who have complete understanding of supremacy of constitution, the rule of law, rights and duties of citizens. So the aim of citizenship education is to produce those students who are capable of implementing ethical values and principles, those who know supremacy of the constitution, rule of law, rights and duties of citizens. These elements help producing self-confident citizens who decide on issues based on reason, those who have the capacity to apply reasons, those who think reasonably and accept responsibility for their actions and inactions. So this is the main reason why citizenship education is provided in schools and higher education institutions. It is also aimed at creating a generation who has the capability to shoulder family and national responsibility. Ethics has also become an important in education because without ethics, we cannot have responsible citizens. Responsible citizens are those equipped and polished by ethical principles. That is why ethics is very important in bonding the society together, in merging the society together. Education is a fundamental process of human life. Education is a fundamental ways of imparting knowledge. It is a fundamental way of sharing and distributing skills. Ethics is very important subject in education because it helps us even to use technologies that are very important in our educational endeavors. So, for example, in terms of identifying plagiarism, which is educational dishonesty, then we use ethics. What is the importance of it? Number one, the need to instill citizens about their rights and duties uh, requests the government just to provide citizenship education. The importance of citizenship education is to instill citizens about their rights and duties. Students need to have sufficient understanding about their rights and duties. Rights and duties are coexistent, they coexist with each other. You cannot separate right from duties and duties from right. They go together. They are the two sides of the same coin. Here, the state has obligation to provide and teach students to have complete understanding of their right and their duties. Your right as a citizen, as a student, is the responsibility or the duty of the government. The right of the government is your duty or responsibility. For example, the state or the government has the obligation to provide healthcare services to citizens because citizens have the right to access to that services. However, the state is unable to ensure that citizens lead healthy life unless citizens themselves act responsibly with respect to their own health in terms of healthy diet, exercise, and the consumption of liquor and tobacco. So the government does not force you to take care of yourself, but has a responsibility to produce or give you health services. Sasser et al. 2011 says there are four issues that we need to take into account in the interplay between rights and duties. The first issue, correlation between right and duties, is one's right implies others' duty. Every right of an individual automatically imposes a duty on others. That means my right is at your shoulder. If I have the right to express my idea, you have the duty to respect that right. So that is the implication of my right on you, that you have responsibility to respect, not to interfere in my right. The right to freedom of movement, for example, imposes a duty on others not to interfere. If I have the right to movement, then you don't have to interfere in my right. That means you have to respect. Respecting my right is your duty. The second one, one's right implies one's duty to recognize similar right of others. Every exercise of right is subject to restriction. That means if, for example, I have the right to movement, then I don't have to interfere in your right of movement. So I have the responsibility to respect similar right that you have, just like me. The third interplay between right and duties is one should exercise his right for the promotion of social goods. We don't have to misuse our right. I don't have to misuse my right and cause social crisis. I have to make sure that my right does not affect the rights of others or the right of the society. In case a person uses his right to affect the social life and harmony, then the government is responsible to take actions against that person. If, for example, I cause conflict or chaos using my right of speech, then the government is responsible to take appropriate action. Number four, the state being an equalist organ need to take care of the social and legal interests of all individuals. The government is responsible to take care of my interests and your interests. The state has an obligation to discharge duties toward the citizen. State guarantees and protect the right of everybody, and one has a duty to support the state in its legal endeavors. The government has three responsibilities regarding rights: responsibility to protect, responsibility to respect, and responsibility to fulfill. When we say responsibility to protect, the government is responsible to protect my right not to be affected by other individuals against any violation. The second duty to respect is the government itself is responsible to respect my right, not to interfere by its own police forces, courts, and even by its own lawmaking bodies. The third one is the duty to fulfill. The government is responsible to fulfill my social, economic, and cultural right, which I cannot enjoy by myself because it is beyond my capacity to fulfill. For example, the right to education. Since I cannot afford school for myself, or since the community cannot afford education for their children, the government is responsible to establish education institutions to help citizens get knowledge. So the government is responsible to provide those uh, social and economic issues. If I am unemployed, the government is responsible to give me employment. So this is a duty to fulfill. Therefore, there must be a balance between citizenship rights and obligations. There should be a balance. Our right should not go beyond our duty, and our duty should not be less than our right. The second reason why citizenship education is given for citizens is to promote participant political culture, active political culture. What is political culture? Political culture is a set of attitudes, beliefs, and sentiments that give order and meaning to political process in the political system. It is involvement, the belief, attitude that we have toward this political participation, the belief that we have toward this political system, and also the sentiment, the feeling, attachment that we have toward this political system. Taylor described political culture as a norm of conduct, both of and between various political actors operating in the society. So the norm of conduct that both the government and political parties, political actors has to take into account, and also in which they serve the society. Political culture shapes people's expectation from their political system. It shapes and what they see as possibilities for their own action, and also what right and responsibility various actors have. It shapes the political environment. It shapes public expectations. Political culture also defines the role which an individual may play in the political process. As a citizen, we have a responsibility to participate in the politics. Supporting or not supporting parties in the political system is another business. But what we have to know is that we as a citizen have the responsibility to participate. Almond and Verba, in their writing of 1963, constructed or defined three political cultures. Number one is parochial political culture. In parochial political culture, citizens have low cognitive knowledge, effective interest, and evaluative orientation assessment regarding the political system, the government powers, and function in their privilege and duties. They are very passive in terms of participation. They have very limited knowledge about the political system. They have very limited interest about the political system. And also, they have very limited or, at a certain point, no evaluative orientation. So they are passive. They participate in the political system of the country because of their think about the advantage of their family or the goal they want to pursue. Their participation is very minor, very passive. So there is low knowledge, interest, and also assessment orientation of the citizens. The second type of political culture is subject political culture. In this, there is high cognitive, affective, and evaluative orientation in citizens towards the political system, policy outputs, but orientations towards input objectives like, for example, political parties and the self as active participants are minimal. Under this category, they have very high knowledge, interest to participate, and evaluation or assessment orientations, but they have very minimal interest in being member of parties and also exercising their rights and duties in participation. Subject cultures are most compatible with centralized or authoritarian political structures. In non-democratic political system, this kind of participations are there. The third one is participant political culture. In another word, active political culture or active participation. Members of society have high cognitive, affective, and evaluative orientation to the political system in the country, the inputs, objects, the policy outputs, and also they recognize themselves as active participants in the polity or in the country. They are responsible participants. They are responsible citizens that take responsibility to take part in politics, in party system, in election, in debates. They are responsible citizens. These kind of participations are seen in democratic political structures because the quality and attitude of citizens in these countries are held and they know they can change the destiny of their nations. However, there are many factors challenging democracy and democratization process, as you see in the world today. When there is incompatibility between private interests or personal interests and public interests, democracy is under attack. Democratization process is under attack. That is why we see different problems, conflict, chaos in Africa and other worlds. The third importance of citizenship education or moral and citizenship education is to produce or to have relevant knowledge, skills, and positive attitudes among the learners. Because relevant knowledge is useful in dealing with particular problem at a particular point of time. Without knowledge, we cannot solve problems. In order to address those problems, we need to have knowledge. Without knowledge, we cannot treat a person, for example, in the health institutions. Without knowledge, we cannot understand what is going on. So, since a nation need to have citizens who are equipped with knowledge, skill, and positive attitudes, then we provide this subject in university. Knowledge alone cannot change the fate of a nation. It should be put into practice. Knowledge should be put into practice. It should be escorted with skills. Still, knowledge will remain infirm if the person is not equipped with right attitude. Without good attitude and skill, knowledge is nothing. So we have to put that into practice. That is the reason why citizenship education is important, is to foster intercultural societies, or simply to maintain and promote diversity. Civics and ethics education promote the notion of interculturalism, which explicitly asserts the need for relationship, dialogue, reciprocity, and interdependence. We have differences. We have diversity. So to tolerate and also foster intercultural relationship, then we need to learn citizenship education. Civics and ethics education is a useful instrument to promote interaction from inter-ethnic interaction, interpersonal interaction, inter-societal interaction, as well as intra-societal interaction to help citizens have open mind, tolerating the differences, and also have effective solidarity with others. It helps to integrate the best tradition of multicultural and intercultural education. Multicultural, the presence of diversity, diverse culture, the presence of interdependent culture. So this helps us to be tolerant. It also contributes to develop political and pedagogical strategies to overcome discrimination, not to discriminate each other, not to discriminate people, and also tolerate and enjoy our diversity. Number four, the issue of inclusiveness. This is gender-related importance. In the past, there was gender imbalances, gender discriminations. So for us to restore balance between gender, between male and the female, between advantaged and disadvantaged group, citizenship education plays a significant role. It tells us and help us to nurture the new and inclusive relations and practices in both public and private spaces that recognizes gender differences while ensuring inclusiveness and equity. Promoting democracy and inclusiveness in public spaces, families, workplaces, unions, and other institutions become the area of focus of civics and ethics. Without inclusiveness, society cannot grow, cannot flourish. In order to flourish the society or enjoy the good output of interaction, the society has to balance and maintain inclusiveness. Number five is the issue of peace building. Citizenship education promotes cooperation. It teaches the way to cooperate, the way to make dialogue, and sustainable peace that is based on justice. Without justice maintained, then there is no peace. Peace is the fruit of justice. These include the development of competencies for peacemaking, conflict resolution, healing, reconciliation, and reconstruction. Citizens who are competent and active know how to build peace, know how to resolve conflict, know how to heal wounds, know how to reconcile peoples and also reconstruct. It also includes an understanding of nonviolent civil disobedience philosophies, strategies, and skills. Competent citizens know how to demonstrate. Competent citizens do not believe in force. They know how to exercise civil disobedience strategies. In democratic nations, citizens know how to demonstrate their civic disobedience strategies and skills. Citizenship education can foster the development of values, attitudes, and skills to nurture peace with ourselves, within ourselves, in our relationships, in our communities, and a global community. Peace begins from within. If you don't have peace with yourself from within, then you are not going to enjoy your relationship. If your relationship is not peaceful, then the society is not going to have peaceful interaction. If the society is not having peaceful interaction, then there is no peace at national level and at global level. Citizenship and moral education seek to promote moral and ethical democratic values such as respect for life, respect for reasoning, the ability to produce ideas and defend that argumentation. When we talk of respect for reasoning, tolerating opinions of others, fairness, just equitable and equal distribution of burdens and benefits, concern for the welfare of others, the well-being, the safety, the interests of others, respect for diversity, respecting diversity, multiculturalism, interculturalism, tolerating the peaceful resolution of conflict, resolving conflict without going to war, without force. So today we have seen about the relationship between laws and ethics or morality. And also we have seen the importance of citizenship or moral education. This marks the end of today's lesson. So I would like to remind you again to subscribe, like, share, and comment this video to your friends, your family, your colleagues, and help my YouTube channel